Hi, this is Caroline from The Happy Sensitive. I am here behind the scenes in the back end of my WordPress website, and I've been wanting to do this video for a while, going through some of these spam comments that I get when I open a post and I allow for there to be comments below the post. Way back in the day, in the early days, I never really recognized spam comments because I would actually just read the comment itself. And what I found is really interesting, like spam commenters who are reasonably successful, they use these certain kinds of techniques. And it's this empty kind of flattery. And I think it's really helpful to know about this and to kind of see the technique behind it, even if you don't have a website, even if, this is not something you have to deal with, but just to kind of recognize this in people, because this is really a thing they do. Okay, so when you go and look at, I've already been cleaning up a whole bunch here, but let's start at the top. And this, by the way, is why, years ago at some point I closed the comments, because even if you have spam filters and all that, you still get a lot of spam and it can really start clogging up your time, basically. Okay, so this is a very, very obvious one. My family all the time say that I am wasting my time here at web. However, I know I'm getting know-how every day by reading these fastidious articles. First of all, the grammar is terrible, right? So this is an interesting indication. But the other thing here is kind of like giving an indirect compliment, and it sounds personal, right? It sounds personal, like my family saying I'm wasting my time here, and it makes you kind of go like, oh yeah, but you're not, because you're on my website. But when you look closely, you see there's nothing here about my website or me or anything personal, and there's nothing really personal about this person either. It's a very, very bland general comment that doesn't really mean anything when you really look closely. So it's when you assume that somebody has honest intentions, you're going to fill in the blanks, right? You're going to think, you read my family all the time say that I'm wasting my time here. You're like, oh, I got a visitor from, some other place where, and English is not his native language. And he's not good at expressing himself, and he's a little vague, right? That's what you're going to fill in. But it's not what's going on. This is just a little technique to just get your attention. And here it's really obvious because it says, take a look at my webpage, and it has Gatwick Airport Massage, mystrikingly.com. Like, what? Right? And, on the left, you can see that here too. It's really obvious. But I'm just really focusing on the message on the right because that's a little bit more confusing. And let's see. Okay, here. My sis informed me about your website and the way great it is. Again, bad grammar. She's proper. I'm actually impressed with the writing and slick design. Right, but again, it's very general. Like any website you visit is going to have writing and it's going to have design. So you can always say, "Oh, I'm impressed with the writing and the slick design." It's like going up to someone and saying, "I like your shoes." Like, I hope that when people say that, they mean it. But if that's just their strategy, they could say that to anyone. Everyone's going to be wearing shoes, And you would only catch them out if you've got somebody there who's barefoot. And you're like, haha, you were just saying that. This is another interesting technique where they say blah, blah, blah. This is a really strange sentence, by the way. It appears to me you're just scratching the floor by way of what you may accomplish. So they want to say scratching the surface, but okay. But you're off to an excellent begin. This is, what is that called? Like you're negging, right? You're giving somebody a backhanded kind of negative compliment. So this is another really common one that they use, and it makes them sound insightful and professional when they're not. It's like, this is just a spam comment, but it has that technique in there of, oh, this is pretty good for a beginner. Like, this is, this isn't, okay, so the next one. When I open your RSS feed, it gives me a ton of trash. Is the issue on my side? This could be a legitimate question, right? So just based on this, you don't know if it's spam. But then you go to the left side and you see that there's this whole thing in there where there's some kind of email address that has a lot of gunk in there, and it's linking to YouTube video. So someone's just trying to create some kind of complicated backlink to something they've created. Now this one's really obvious, right? Hydrochloroquine, sulfate, blah, blah, blah. So this is just somebody just throwing some words at you. Those are the people, if they come up to you at a party, it's going to be very obvious they're spamming you because they just start talking about whatever they want you to do or buy right away. Let's see. Any other tactics? This is another one. Like, can you tell us more about this? I'd care to find out some additional information. If somebody asks you something like this, okay, I get this on Instagram too, by the way. This is an Instagram tactic people use, where they will like a few of your posts, and then they will send you a message, and they'll say, "Oh, I'm so interested in your work, whatever. Please tell me more about yourself or what you do," which superficially sounds like they're interested in knowing more about you, right? Like if somebody sends you a message like, "Hey, tell me more about what you do," if you don't know about these tactics, you're going to assume that they mean well and they really want to just get to know you. But for me, having a website on the web, I know if I want to find out more about someone, the first thing I do is not ask them online, "Tell me more about yourself." The first thing I do is go to their website, read what they already have on there, right? It's actually really, really impolite when somebody has taken the time to create almost like an online portfolio of what they do and how they help and whatever, to just completely ignore that and go straight to the inbox and just ask them. So what this really is they're trying to flatter you. They're trying to pretend that they're really interested in who you are and what you want. But really, they're just kind of pulling you in because they're trying to sell you something in the end. And when you invest and you spend all this time explaining who you are and what you do, you're gonna feel like you have some kind of relationship with this person, but you don't. They just gave you some standard comments that you just copy and paste, and then they made you work at something that they could have found out by just clicking on something, right? So it's this really shady technique where it makes them look really nice and it makes them look like they care, but actually they don't give a shit. So this is another interesting one where someone's saying, "Nice post. I was checking constantly this blog." Again, the terrible English. That's like your biggest tip off with spam. But I'm impressed. Very useful information, particularly the last part. So this is where they pretend to be specific, right? They're saying the last part. Everything online is going to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So you can always like put that in there. I care for such info a lot. I was seeking this particular information for a very long time. Thank you and good luck. Right? So they're not saying anything, but again, they made up the whole story about something that makes it sound nice when you don't know any better. And then they're like, "Look at my blog posts. Minneapolis porch remodeling. Could this be spam?" Let's see. Here's another one. This is a little bit better. "Can I simply just say what a relief to uncover somebody that actually understands what they are discussing on the net?" Oh, ego compliment. "You certainly realize how to bring an issue to light and make it important. More and more people have to check this out and more and more people have to check this out and understand this side of the story. I was surprised that you're not more popular because you most certainly possess the gift." Right? Again, super vague. They're not referring to anything specific. But when you don't know that this is what they're doing, it's easy to fill in the blanks and think that this is actually about you, that this is actually specifically about you. This person actually took the time to, read something about you. I get this in my inbox as well, right? So I look for this kind of stuff because I get people emailing me, wanting stuff from me, who then have not even bothered to actually look at my website and look at something specific that I do. But this is how you filter those people out. They just come with these empty compliments and empty statements, and it's all empty. There's nothing in there that's specifically about you. But it seems, just because you would never do this, you just assume that they have, that it is about you and that it is specific and that they do care. And then you just fill in the blanks in your head. And so you don't catch this kind of stuff. Here's another one. "This information is worth everyone's attention. When can I find out more?" Again, super vague, and apparently they want you to, they want me to reach out to them because I'll be clicking their link, and that's what they want, right? Anyway, it's kind of the same thing. The next ones, let's see. Here's another one. This is pretending to be super personal. Howdy, this post could not be written any better. Looking at this article, again, vague, this article, reminds me of my previous roommate. Okay. He continually kept preaching about this, right? Again, this, that, the thing. I will forward this article to him. Fairly certain he will have a very good read. Thanks for sharing. My website, New Houses, Minnesota. Yeah. So it's just an interesting technique that I've seen popping up more and more. When I started online and I had my first blog about 10 years ago, the spam was much more obvious. Okay, so spam was more like somebody just dropping a link to whatever they wanted you to look at or click on. But now, of course, that people pick up on that and you can filter out certain links. They've kind of gone into this approach where like their contact info is mostly the spam, and then their post is sounds friendly and sounds conversational, but it's just a bunch of air. It's nothing. Let's see if there's one that has a different strategy. Yeah, this person's asking for help, right? Would you mind letting me know which web host you're using? Can you recommend a good hosting provider at a fair price? Cheers, appreciate it. So it sounds like a legit question, but again, you look at, their contact info and it's just, is weed bad for dogs? Like what? And then pet poison helpline, blah, 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 blah. Clearly something they want you to click on. So yeah, fun times. Again here, thank you for the auspicious write-up. This is probably from India. Like, I don't think anybody else would use that word, auspicious. But it in fact was an amusement account. It look advanced to far added agreeable from you. Okay. By the way, how can we communicate? So I guess Google Translate did not really translate that for them, whatever language they were originally writing that in. Yeah. It's really sad. It's really sad. But also for anybody who has a website, it's you gotta filter this crap out because it looks so unprofessional. If you publish this, right, you gotta hold this back and check it, because I have been to websites where people have just automatically published whatever comment they got, and you've got spam like this in there, and it's weird. And, it just goes on and on and on and on. So I'm just going to delete that. But I do actually check it because you can actually have legitimate comments stuck in the list of spam like this. But yeah, that's where I lost my enthusiasm for blog comments at some point. Because, in the beginning when you have a blog and very few people read it and very few people find it, you don't have this problem, okay? But once you have certain articles that are easier to find online, where more people find it, then the spammers find you and they want to get links through your website, and they just start spamming all the places they can, just like posting comments where they can. And then suddenly, managing comments becomes a lot of work and it stops being fun. So that, that's pretty much why I stopped doing it at some point. And then I thought, I can just like open it up again, like an article here and an article there, but you just get all this crap again. So yeah. But so summing up, these are some tactics people use to flatter you, get your attention, get you to do what they want. And the big tip off is that they use very, very general, bland language. also happens on dating sites, by the way, right? If somebody just sends you a message and there's nothing in the message that is specific to you, they're just saying, you know, hello, gorgeous, loved your profile, love to hang out. And then, you know, just to share some like things that make it sound like they actually are reaching out to you specifically, but they're not. They're just kind of spamming everyone who will listen to them, and then just seeing if that will get them somewhere, which is a tactic. And, you know, you could argue there's nothing wrong with that per se, but if you are receiving messages like this that are basically just spam, you're spending time to respond and you take it very seriously, you're going to get really hurt, because this is just something that people are doing now. All right, I think that is it. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.